Alright, so everything in this video um, is unnecessary to actually make a mod for the Waifuverse, but it's good details um, to add because the way we have it set currently, there's no hair physics, there's no breast physics, there's no other stuff that you can do, and you can add a lot of different functionalities um, by improving the model. So I'm going to show you really quick how to add hair physics and really get started on more advanced but necessary modding procedures. So the first thing we're going to do is I want to see all of her bones. We're going to go to animation rigging, bone render setup. So let's see what kind of bones we have here. Um, this is odd right here. There's a breastbone. I'm not sure exactly how that works. I think it might just be for her ribbon. So we're going to leave that out. But let's get started with the hair package. And for me, I'm going to use Magica Cloth 2. So I'm going to go to Package Manager. And if your layout isn't set up like this, go to Window. And somewhere in here, there's a Package Manager. Um, there it is, Package Manager. And that'll open this up. But for right now, and once you have that, if you like bought stuff from Unity, uh, you type in the package name. I don't know how to spell magic cloth, but here it is. I'm going to download it onto this computer, and I'm going to import it. And that'll be important. Another thing, okay, we'll just finish up with this, then we'll talk about the voice. But another thing you should do is modify the voice settings to better match your model. Um, the voice settings will likely change over time, so they're not as important. Because right now we're using just sort of default generated voices. It's free to use these voices, but over time we'll have more advanced voice techniques to use. All right, burst. We need burst. Okay, and we'll probably need jobs, burst and jobs. It takes a bit to set this up, but it looks like it'll be fine for right now. All right, to set this up, it's pretty easy. We're gonna right click. We're gonna make create empty, and we'll call this Magica hair. And we're going to add a component. We're going to add um, Magica cloth. We're going to change the cloth type to a bone cloth. We're going to look at the root bones, and what this is these hair bones right here. So we're going to take both of these, and put them in. The best way to do it is to go back to Magica hair. We're going to hit the lock here. Then we're going to select these two bones, and we're going to drag them into the root bones. Perfect. The next step is we're going to go to the preset, and we're going to do long hair. There might be other hair bones on more advanced models, like there's front hair and there's other like skirts. If she had a skirt, we would need to pick one of these, do the same process as the hair. They're all similar. So that's in there. And what we'll also need is a collider for her head, so her hair doesn't go through. So we're going to hit head, we're going to unlock this and we're going to do a Magica Capsule Collider. And it's like infinitely small right now. So we're going to increase the size of it. And we're going to change this to be up and down, because anime girl heads are actually sort of not perfectly round. And turn down the length on this, and I'm going to move it up on the Y to more closely match her head. And what this does is it stops her hair from going through her head, and because her hair is so long, we'll need one for her other body parts. But just an example, we'll do it this way. And we're going to hit this S right here, and what that'll do is we'll have different start and end radiuses. And you can just use one sphere usually, but I like to do both. Or maybe you even want two spheres. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger through the radius, but not too much. Bigger and more up. There we go. That's looking good. And I'm going to make the length a little bit longer. You just need to play around with it and see how well it works. All right, perfect. We can test that. Oh, actually, before we do that, we go back to hair, and that capsule collider needs to go in the collision collider list. So we drag this, and you need to drag every single one that you put on. So when we put one on her butt, so her hair doesn't go through her butt, we need to put it on there too. Let's see if it'll run without restarting Unity. Yep, see her hair flops around. Let's go back to scene so we can look at the flop. I'm going to click on Miku, and yep, look at that. It's all floppy now, but it is going through her body, but it is not going through her head. So let's add a few more colliders just to finish off this model. Her hips, that's pretty central. Let's add a capsule collider. Let's make it bigger, and like that. That looks about right. Let's also add one of those to her chest. The capsule collider, length, radius, and increase that. Doesn't need to be absolutely perfect per se. Just a few points add a lot to the realism. And you know what? Because her hair's so long, we might add one to her feet. I'm going to do that anyways. And capsule collider. We're going to change this to Y. Make it longer, bigger, and let's send it down on the Y-axis. Perfect. Because there's two legs, we're going to right click. We're going to copy this component, and we're going to go from the left to the right. I'm going to go to the right knee and right click on the transform on the very top and paste component as new, and that'll make two of them. Now let's go back to the hair, and we're going to lock it again and drag in everything. I'm going to I'm going to control click every single one of these, the hips and the two knees, and I'm going to drag them on into the list. Perfect. And let's give it a test and see how the realism looks. Her hair floops. Let's go click on the base, and let's drag her around. It's not quite perfect, or at least I can't tell it's perfect. Collider, collision, is it working? It's working good enough. It is working good enough. Point, edge. Yeah. Yeah, we might need to add some for the other legs. In fact, yeah, let's add some for the other legs too while we're at it. So I'm going to copy component and paste component as new. Do that for the left leg and the right leg. Paste component as new. You might want to just save these values if you're making a million mods. So you can just transfer them one to the other. And once you're done editing, okay, let me finish this up. We're going to go back to collider collision and put the left leg in there and the right leg in there. And that should help. Miku's hair is really big. It's not this hard if she has short hair or just normal style hair. Where is transform? That's sort of better. You can see how it doesn't move as easily or it gets caught. Um, it just adds a little bit to the realism. Maybe you want more up here on her shoulders. Oh, we'll just continue for now. All right, so now that that's all added, make sure you're never like playing while you're editing because that won't get saved. We need to save this into this because this hasn't changed. And the way you save it is you go to overrides and you hit apply all, and that'll save it in there. And then you have to rebuild it. One other thing you might want to do is the head needs a head pat bone or a head pat collider, and that's just a capsule collider, just sort of like how you did that other one. I'm going to decrease the radius and decrease the height. And what this does is just lets better head padding. And let's move it up so it's on, and we'll decrease the height. Let's move it up, and let's decrease the radius one more tick. That looks good enough for now. I don't, because this is for head pats, I don't want it to be in the neck. So I'm actually going to take it up one more and decrease the radius one more. Yeah, and then the height can go down. The radius can go up one more. Yeah, a little bit. Actually, this one could be a sphere. One you have to have is trigger, or else it'll break everything. So is trigger is very important because it does calculate into the physics if you don't put is trigger. So keep it as is trigger, and that's how you do additional modifications for your hair, your clothes, and if you wanted to, you could do the ribbon. I wonder if we can scale it. Oops. Let's scale this up. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's doing good. Don't do that. One other thing you can do is we can look at the height. Let's say you can tweak it just a little bit, like maybe 10%, to make her bigger or smaller, depending on what looks natural. Um, like this still looks good because Miku's so petite. You can scale her up like 10, 15%, make her like 6 foot tall. Okay, that's the extra steps.